Another suspect? Who?
It's appearing before me. Whoa, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer.
Your eyes are closed, dude. Oh, this is it! This is our chance! Back route time. I can hear it! It's coming through my ears.
The
Just like
culprit
Kyo can
sneaked
see
in
it.
during the seance
But
by crawling under the floor.
what do we do here?
But it was pitch black during the seance.
I suppose we should find out what the real answer is
How could
first
they even
before
see if they were under the floor?
start trying to find out what the lie is.
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Oh, villain.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Ah! But I anticipated
Now,
this.
Hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor
I did think about
and
this.
sneak into the empty room during the seance.
I said hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
Ah, my eyes! It's true that with a little light, you can move around under the floor. Right, but there is a hole in the corner of the room, and have you seen how bright his eyes are? Have you seen that gigantic glow? No, of course you haven't, because your eyes had to be bloody closed because it's so damn bright. Okay? And surely some part of it would have shone through the bottom, or in the hole in the corner, and it would have illuminated the room, even if it was just a slight bit of light, right? So that's why I ruled out Kibo way back when. But okay, so I think, but is that possible?
The culprit sneaked in during the seance
I think hole in the corner
by
on
crawling under the floor.
Kyo's
But it was
statement
pitch black during the seance.
is probably the
How
real
could they
answer
even see
here.
if they were under the floor?
But what's the lie?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor.
I suppose we start with trying to figure out
You
what the
see,
lie bullets are, right?
Our villain had a light.
Kibo's flashlight function.
Light? You mean candle?
Kibo's
I mean, Kibo's flashlight
weak
function.
strength, maybe? I don't know what the opposite of that would be.
Now hold on a second.
The caged child.
Kibo could have
The
used that
caged
function to
adult?
get under the floor
The caged dog,
and
maybe?
sneak into the empty room during the seance.
Marker stone, probably
I
normal
said
stone.
hold on a second.
Loose
He used
floorboard.
his robot functions to
Tight
commit the
floorboard.
murders.
Like proper
Hold
floorboard.
on a second.
Hole in the corner. Hole in the side. No hole in the corner. Hole in the middle. It's true that with a little light, you can move around under the floor. But is that possible?
The culprit sneaked in during the seance
Kibo's flashlight function.
by
I know I'm
crawling
going to lose
under
health if
the
I try and
floor.
reveal this,
But it was pitch black
but
during
we have
the
to,
seance.
because we have to commit to a lie once we decide to
How
do
could
it.
they even see if they were under the floor?
Flashlight
Because it
drawbacks.
wasn't dark under the floor. You see,
Yeah.
our villain had a light.
Don't know how much time we
Light?
can spend
You
on
mean
trying to figure out what the
candle?
lie is here.
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Flashlight drawbacks. What does that mean to me?
Now hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor and sneak into the empty room during the seance.
A normal stone.
I said hold on a second.
Tight floorboard.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
What do I lie about here? I know this is definitely a backroute debate here. I can hear it in the music. You can hear that distinct sound.
The culprit sneaked in during the seance.
There's only 2 weak spots, right? We can't do
By
it on a
crawling
grease
under
spot.
the floor.
I remember that much.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a
If
light.
this is the correct answer, I
Light?
think we have to
You
focus on
mean
Mew's
candle?
statement then.
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
But what do we say?
Huh? Now hold on a second.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the...
Flashlight drawbacks? Oh!
I'll reveal the truth.
We did it! We found it! So
Mew,
what's wrong
you
with
gave
taking
Kibo
the
his
back
flashlight function, correct?
Oh, is this the kind of... Is this the path we're going to be taking?
Did you not notice?
I didn't notice what.
It's hard to believe that Kibo is the culprit in this case. Yeah, I ruled him out. It's even harder to believe that this trial isn't being manipulated by someone. So even if I have to lie, I need to defend Kibo.
The drawback of the flashlight function that you added. It's so bright, Even Kibo can't see when it's turned on.
Is that... I suppose that's true. In a way.
I see. That bright, huh? Wait, what? There's no way a genius like me would make that kind of rookie mistake!
Well, I don't know.
But you make mistakes a lot. A whole lot.
That's Gunter's words, not mine. He said that out loud. It wasn't me.
Hey! If you're gonna fuck me in front of everyone, at least buy me dinner first!
If he can't see, it doesn't matter how bright the area is. He couldn't move like that.
Sure.
So Kibo couldn't have been underneath the floor.
I didn't even think about the fact that Kibo couldn't see himself.
Is that true, Kibo? Is what Shuichi said true?
Wait, I thought this was supposed to be a lie. Ah, yes, he probably can see while it's bright. Sorry. I figured it out now. Come on, Kibo. Please, play along. Come on. Use your logic meter. Kibo!
Well,
He's shutting down.
I'm so sorry. I just don't remember. Really, I'm sorry.
God, ah!
Ah, we get it already. Just turn it off. We're gonna go blind.
Oh, right, that was him. I was like, what's the hell? Is he about to explode or something? Because he's melting down?
You don't remember? What does that even mean?
He's a robot. Doesn't he save it to his, like, memory bank?
Well, Shuichi, trying to make a fool out of me, huh?
Well, you do plenty good yourself.
Let me put on some makeup, cause I want to at least look pretty before you decide to fuck me!
Jeez. Mew, please take it easy.
That's
Shuichi, I'm so sorry.
Oh, he's done it again.
Damn, that is seriously bright.
Yeah, see, there's no way he could have been under the floor like this.
Wouldn't the light have shined through the gaps of the floorboard if it had been this bright?
Thanks, Sparky. So, I guess we're back on track now? Because it doesn't change the debate, apparently, right? It's just an alternate route. The hole. Oh, don't say that out loud. Mew's right next to us, and she's about to bloody climax.
yes. The culprit couldn't have used a light under the floor. Not even Kibo.
Right, which leads me back to my point that the culprit, if they couldn't use any light whatsoever, right, even a candle, would you risk using that when you're under the floor and there's a gap there? Probably not, even if it doesn't reach. So I was thinking maybe the culprit had already positioned themselves underneath the center of the room and struck from there. So they got into position while everything was bright, then we blew out the candles and they waited to strike. That's a cool rhyme.
Oh, they couldn't have?
They couldn't have. Kyo, come on. You have to spell couldn't properly.
We were there after all. We would know. There was a hole near the corner of the room we were in, remember?
Yes.
If someone had a light under the floor, it would have leaked through.
I'm just so happy we found
when
that
we did
backward.
the seance, I'm pretty sure the room was pitch black.
That was quite tough. I didn't even know what to do.
That's right. We didn't see anything, so the culprit couldn't have used a light.
Yeah, so my only theory is they were ready and lying in wait.
And just because I have a built-in flashlight function does not mean I am the culprit.
I mean, you are a robot, though. Surely you have some sort of night vision? I don't want to rule you out just yet. Like, I did say, you know, I struck Kibo out, but... I mean, the only reason I had for exonerating him is because of the bright light that, you know, it would have shown through. That's the obvious thing to think about, but the killer didn't need a light, so even if it was Kibo, he wouldn't have needed to use his gigantic flashlight.
I see. That was a flaw in my theory.
Jeez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot.
He's your typical robophobe.
My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats.
Fortunately, we've seen that firsthand. The guy could barely lift, like, anything. Wouldn't trust this guy to, like, carry your groceries back from the car in one trip.
My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
See, like, how are you the ultimate robot? Like, you're just very flawed.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
Such a flawed design. I wonder if there's like Kibo version 2.
I neither want nor need your pity.
He's an independent. Oh, Jesus.
Enough with the flashlight! Way too bright!
You actually lit up Kaido's face. It's been dark for the past couple of text lines.
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch black darkness.
Further proves my point.
Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Oh, it must. Because that's where we found that sickle.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny? Going to think that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They used the sickle, lift it up,
Ooh,
and
nice
stab.
observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Well done, Gunta. You're on your way to becoming gentleman.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Kaido does have a point.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that.
Glowing paint, huh?
That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
I was thinking, I don't know if I've said this to anyone, but I was like thinking, man, Tenko's death is actually quite reminiscent of DR1 because of the going under the floorboards and getting stabbed underneath something, you know? In this case, it's a cage. Back then, it was a table.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
I knew you're gonna say something, but do you actually know about these events, Mr. Monokuma, sir? Or are you just fan servicing us? I wonder.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Yes, exactly. So that's not the case this time.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
Someone deliberately loosened it by sawing off that cross platform.
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right?
Yeah, she just happened to be under it. On top of it, sorry.
If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
No, we need to think about this. God, this case is doing my head in.
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
This is another issue we're jumping to.
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
I thought you were going to start talking about how the seance didn't work.
When? So not during seance?
How and when she was killed.
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she?
I want to think so. But we couldn't see through that white sheet, could we?
How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
No, that's not possible. Because we heard her voice while she was under the metal cage, right?
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
Exactly. Unless it was like a voice recording. Voice recording. Kibo, don't you have a voice recording feature? This is the point of no return, Tenko. After this point, you mustn't speak. The next time you open your mouth, it will be Angie speaking through you. Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over. I wonder... Did you say this sentence before? I can't remember. Is this something you could have said? Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over. It doesn't sound like something she'd randomly say off the cuff that Kibo would have recorded, right? Or something? I mean, we can't tell what the voice quality is, right?
Yes.
We don't have...
She was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
We don't have the ultimate musician here to confirm whether it was a live voice or not, but I wonder. Could it be? Maybe.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
such a sad image, man.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
Yeah.
But she was inside Cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
What?
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads.
That's what we've been doing. What have you done? Besides, like, ask people to, you know, F you cum dumpster.
Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory.
He said
Now
it was
hurry
impossible.
up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains!
Okay, great. Let's hear it then. Better not be a waste of our time. Marker Stone, Iron
When
Cage.
Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time, and she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Ooh, like that.
Didn't we mention something about when the cage
When
was
Cage
lifted?
lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast.
Okay, no, that didn't happen.
So fast, no one saw.
No.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Oh my god!
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit.
No, she's not.
There's no
Jeez. Calm yourself, woman. Goodness me. Tenko not being killed during the seance? That might not be possible, but there's no evidence for it.
When Tenko got killed,
Shit.
it wasn't during the seance.
Okay. No, she was definitely killed during the seance. Because as soon as the lights came on, I saw the blood under the sheet, right? I remember that vividly because I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was already just like, oh my god, it's happened. So it's like a traumatic memory burned in my brain. The blood was there as soon as the lights came on. So it wasn't like when we lifted up the cage, right? Unless she was bleeding out then, because apparently she didn't die immediately, according to this. And she wasn't killed when the cage was lifted.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time.
I mean, we
And
can't...
she was dead when the cage was lifted.
We don't know for sure if she was under the cage the whole time, right? But I can't prove that she wasn't either. I could probably shoot this thing, right? I could say, we can't see through the sheet, so maybe she wasn't
What
there.
about moment Cage was lifted?
But I need to counter things. The moment the cage was lifted.
Like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast.
Like, it's hard
So
when
fast,
something is
no
so
one
obviously
saw.
wrong. Like, I can't figure out for some reason what I need to shoot.
My!
So who lifted the cage?
Himiko.
Obviously Himiko is the culprit.
I don't think that's
There's
the one.
no doubt.
It's either Kyo's or Gonta's at this point. Tenko not being killed during the seance? That might not be impossible, but there's no evidence for it. She wasn't killed before. I'm going to assume that was her real voice under the table that time. There's no way she'd just like... No, she couldn't disappear, right? We would have heard the floorboard being unsecured. The floorboard must have become unsecured during the song, which was that, obviously, that loud noise we heard. That must have been when the floorboard got dislodged. But when did Tenko die during it? All we know is 11 AM. I don't know what time it was we were doing this damn ritual. When did she die? Did she die? I've got the iron cage. There's blood in the cage. She was obviously killed while she was under the cage, surely, because there's blood on the cage. So there's no way she like went underneath the floor and got stabbed there, otherwise the blood wouldn't have appeared on the cage, right? Unless you grab the sickle and use that to like paint the wall on the top, the blood, sorry, on the top of the cage. Which I don't think is the case here. The thing that's tricky is, I think I saw it here. Tenko died in a crouched position. Right, now part of the ritual has her curled up like a turtle. But you also need to be crouched down on all fours when you're under the floor, right? So she could have been killed there. But I'm basing it on the fact that there's blood on the cage. Where's the cage? Down here. There's also blood on the sheet, isn't there? There's just no... there's no cut or hole in the fabric, sorry. Okay.
When Tenko got killed,
Let's work through
it
this.
wasn't during seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What moment cage was lifted?
See, look how much white noise is there. Like, I feel like that's the one we need to shoot.
When cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Okay, let's work backwards here then. Right? He's saying someone stabbed her as soon as the cage was lifted. Oh man, that thunder outside is going crazy. Okay, let's review, because the whole... We had to remove things in the opposite direction, or opposite way that we put them all on, right? So let's start with this. So... Finally, we placed the dog god on top of the cage, so we removed that first, I remember that. Place the iron cage over the sperm medium and cover the cage with white cloth, so I remember the cloth. We had to take the cloth off, and then raise the cage, but there was blood already on the white sheet, right? She couldn't have killed
the cage?
Tenko while, you know, the white sheet's in the distance, because we would have ripped the white sheet off.
When Tenko got killed,
So I think this is it. I'm gonna fire this on Gonta's one.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was
under the
cage the whole time. She was dead when the cage was lifted.
What moment cage was lifted?
Nice.
That's wrong!
I knew it. All it takes is a little thinking. I told you I was taking this trial seriously.
No, it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted.
She was already bleeding out, or she was dead.
Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it. That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted.
Was.
If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
And not to mention, there were 3 people there who would have seen Himiko stab her, no matter how far she was. Not to mention, that would be such an audacious way to kill someone.
but how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
Maybe you just keep your hands where we can see them.
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here!
Oh, you really now? Oh, I can't wait for this.
No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
She must have been.
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
Something tells me it's not real gold, it's probably just yellow. Something pale. A knockoff. Okay, here we go. Tenko's last moments, marker stone, loose floorboard, iron
Tenko
cage.
died after the seance. It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage!
So you're saying
They
Kyo
stuck
did
the
it?
thin blade through the gaps of the cage. And that clean white sheet got stained blood red!
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
I don't think we've mentioned the sickle yet, but there we
The
go.
blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit. And that's none other than Kyo!
Wow, I like dominated her in this debate. But I need to counter her logic here. There has to be a hole in Mew's logic somewhere. All I have to do is show the evidence that will counter Mew's claims.
The blade's all you need.
So her thing is that she was crouched down.
If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit. And that's none other than Kyo!
Hang on, wait. So she's talking about how sitting in there, that's the one that's glowing yellow. She died in a crouched position. She wasn't sitting, she was crouched. Okay, so that's probably what I need to do here.
The blade's all you need.
Let's give it a shot.
If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Nope, that didn't work, damn it. Huh? She was probably sitting down normally while she was in the cage. If you got a problem with that, then come up with a better explanation, bucko.
I was wrong!
I made a mistake. I need to think it over again. Okay, if it's not that, then it must be the stone. Where is the marker stone? She's been crouched over in the iron cage with her forehead on the stone.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko.
Because that stone was still in there.
Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
There we go.
I'll cut through your words!
I knew it had something to do with her position. I just got the wrong blade. Typical.
Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage.
She was crouched forward, bending over, pretty much inviting an execution.
She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone. And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Couldn't have reached.
I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
I'm surprised it only took until now for you to get embarrassed with the amount of action you've been displaying here.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
Gota.
How embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
Someone had to have gotten her from under the floor.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
What the hell happened?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Why not from below the floor? Because she would have noticed the floorboard moving? Then how the hell? Think about this. Why is this case I can't figure out Angie's thing. I can't figure out Tenko's, which is killing me right now, that I can't figure out anything. Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then the only explanation is she went under the floor. She can't have been killed in the cage. She had to have... What if the floorboard collapsed in the middle and then she fell down? That's when the killer struck. But you see, if she fell down, wouldn't she let out like a yelp or like a howl of like surprise? Like, whoa, I'm falling. You know, that's your natural reaction to yell out loud. I know she was told to be quiet, but do you really think she would have maintained her silence if that happened? Well, apparently the sky says no. It's thundering.
Yeah, for a living person.
What now?
Huh?
Are you saying she was already dead?
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
Oh no, he's riling up Kaito again.
What are you talking about? That's not possible.
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
What, so Angie's ghost used the sickle? Maybe it was Monokid's ghost, because we've seen him wandering those halls.
Don't say stupid stuff like that! Screw spirits!
Oh, don't say that. Spirits might get angry if you say screw them.
Stop that now.
Maki's getting really fed up. Here we go.
Angie's spirit killed Tango? Why?
Is that really the case? Could it be?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tango?
Because maybe Tenko killed Angie, and it was just like some sort of civil, like, not really civil, was it? Some attempt at revenge? But I'm just assuming that this seance did work.
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible! Spirits can't be culprits!
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
It's hard.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done
wait!
that!
I know! What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage?
Are you saying that Tenko is the culprit of herself?
If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance!
How could they be in the cage? That's such a tiny thing.
No. If there was someone else in the cage, we would have
I agree with
noticed.
Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
What now? You do?
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Am I missing something here?
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
Are you saying that Tenko killed herself?
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
The they she's referring to. It's crossed my mind. No doubt about it. But could it really be?
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
Did she feel guilty or something? For killing Angie?
What did you say? Are you saying Tenko is the culprit?
She committed suicide.
It crossed my mind.
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out. She volunteered to be in the cage, and then stabbed herself during the seance.
Why?
It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
She didn't die instantly.
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
Perhaps that explains why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
But where did she get the sickle from? Was it, like, hidden away in her uniform? Or did she grab it from under the floor?
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
But why did she kill herself? Was she upset that another crime had happened?
Well, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
What's going on?
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah?
No, we're not even at a recess yet, so...
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right?
Hey, Angie! When did you brainwash Himiko?
Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity.
No, I refuse to believe she did this. She came to us for help. Right? Surely not.
Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore. So she decided to end her own
I
life.
thought about it. I did. But just like Himiko, I don't want to believe that.
What?
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
Yeah.
She wanted to hide the truth of her suicide.
What, and get us all killed? No.
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right? It's to take us down with her.
But why would she do this? She's not as diabolical as you are.
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial. So she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her.
No.
Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
What are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that. She told me.
Keep your chin up and live life facing forward. Survive with me and everyone else. See, she even said survive with me and everyone else. Right? Was
What
she
if all
really
of that was
suicidal?
just a lie?
A lie?
Wait! We should believe Tenko's last words!
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
See, now I'm thinking... Shuichi's mentioned this. Probably more than once. Someone here. Oh, he said it in the last trial. Someone here must be manipulating this trial to go their way. Just like in the last one, Kirumi was nudging us away from the fact that Ryoma was alive during nighttime and stuff like that.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer.
I know, but not everyone is like you, okay? Some people are actually transparent and honest.
Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
But you are quite right. In this kind of situation, it's really hard to put your faith in one another.
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Especially with what we've seen so far. Here comes Kaido to rebut him.
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Is this the time to be having a philosophical debate?
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself.
Here comes Kaido with his motivational speeches.
If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them. That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Nope, not against you.
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree.
Yeah, we'll discuss this later. Good topic, though.
No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
I wouldn't call Kokichi naive either. In fact, he's probably the most onto it.
Whether or not I believe, my heart can't reach Tenko anymore. But I want to believe in her.
It's so hard, you know, when you want to believe in people. You want to believe in these characters. God, Danganronpa play with my heart.
She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down.
I have to be with Himiko here.
That's what I want to believe.
But as the ultimate detective, I gotta stay rational.
Me too. Gonta no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
I mean, if that's the... It would answer all our questions? Sure. But is there something else that could answer all our questions?
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
Shit. It's not looking good. I feel like Phoenix Wright right now. Gotta believe in my client. Proper reason.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Oh, Shuichi. You know, God, I love Shuichi right now.
Is there a reason?
Yes. Let me just find one.
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki? If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective work.
I love this confidence. Shuichi, you've come so far. Come on, Maki. Just give me a little bit of rope here. I don't believe Tenko would kill herself because of what she said. Okay, everyone. I'll see you guys after the seance. She said, see you guys after. I doubt she'd had a sudden change of heart. Just because we don't know how she was killed doesn't mean that it was suicide. We shouldn't be satisfied with that. And if we keep thinking, we'll find the truth. And that means we have to believe in Tenko. I'll make them all believe. Let's fucking go! It's another back route. Can we find it? Monica will follow up a 3-cage child. Tenko's last moments. Loose
So far,
floorboard.
suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So
Sick
she
move.
hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
No, they don't. She was too shocked to do anything, even scream out for help. Right? That's what Maki said herself. The injury on her back of her neck was deep, but probably not enough to kill her immediately. Maybe that's not the right thing to shoot at Kyo right now. Oh, I'm so excited! Come on! Think. Everyone thinks that Tenko committed suicide, but only because they're latching onto the easiest answer. Yeah. Exactly. To get out of this, I need to make them think their suicide theory won't work.
So far, suicide seems to be
actually,
the best explanation.
I don't even think this is a back route. I think this is a legitimate, we have to lie to get out of this.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
How do I ruin their suicide theory?
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide,
Maybe the floorboard?
it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
And go on Kyo's statement.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor.
Missed it.
All the pieces fit.
Ah, yes, sorry, no, I was wrong anyway. I think it's Tenko's last moments, because if I'm doing a lie here, I'd have to say that she died instantly. But because that was Shuichi's first assumption was that she died instantly. It was only Maki who corrected us and said, actually, she probably lived for a couple more moments, right? So that's what I think we need to do.
So far,
Okay, there we go. Come on, back on track. Let's get this entire class debate back on track.
Secretly.
She didn't commit suicide.
And then
She would never do that.
Finally, with the last of her strength.
Died instantly. Exactly.
I'll reveal the truth.
We're just lying. All sorts of stuff.
Tenko couldn't have thrown the sickle under the floor.
Maki, please play along with me here.
Because she died instantly.
Instantly?
Please. Her death might not have been instant, but she couldn't have gone far before she bled out.
I'm certain of it. My investigation determined that she died instantly.
See, the more people know that we lie during these debates, like Kaito knows we're a liar, and now Maki's gonna know we're a liar. I mean, jeez.
What's your opinion, Maki? I'd like to hear from someone who specializes in murder.
Maki.
You're right. I completely forgot about that important detail.
Oh,
Tenko died instantly.
yes, she did. Fight me. Change my mind.
What?
What? You sound surprised, Kyo.
As an assassin, I specialize in killing my targets swiftly.
Kyo's reacting rather like more astonished than the others.
I have no doubt that Tenko was killed immediately.
Words of a true killer. Pretty sure we can believe everything she said.
It always feels good when we outlie the liar. See, it's all about picking your moments, not lying about every single statement. Thank you, Maki. Don't smile. Gonna give it away, Shuichi.
How could you forget that, Maki Roll? You better apologize to Shuichi.
Okay, that's enough of that. Let's move on. I don't want to die.
Excuse me?
It's okay, Kaito, really. No apology necessary. Anyway, Tenko died so suddenly that she couldn't have gotten rid of the sickle. Knowing that, the theory that she killed herself just doesn't fit, correct?
Just like I thought. Tenko wouldn't commit suicide.
I think this is the first time Himiko's smiled since. It warms my heart, Himiko.
Thank goodness, Himiko.
I'll look after you in Tenko's stead.
Which means someone definitely killed Tenko during the seance.
Yes.
Her suicide was considered because we could not determine how she was killed.
The killer is just that smart. These killers, man, they've really come so far since Leon.
No, there must have been a way. We're gonna figure it out.
Did any of the participants witness anything peculiar during the seance?
Nope, just heard that noise.
If you know something, please speak up. It could be the key to solving this mystery.
You know, Tsurugi's been silent for quite some time. I don't think I've heard her talk for quite a bit. Not a bad idea. We should remember what happened at the seance. Let me try to remember. I'm sure there's something. I need some kind of clue that will help me solve this mystery. Okay. Yeah, like I haven't heard Tsurugi speak in ages. Is she just taking a back seat for some reason?
Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the seance?
Sound during
There is
seance.
something that bothers me. The fact that the seance failed.
Yeah.
The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange.
Now that I think about it, while we were all singing the song,
You heard something, right?
I heard something fall.
Yes.
I think.
I'm more concerned about how dark it got in there. I mean, it was totally pitch black.
These
My
stars
job
are
was
so
to
high.
relight the candles. Moving along the walls was seriously tough.
It's always the debate soundtracks that get me. Okay, so we're agreeing with Himiko here. It was pitch black during the seance. That limits what could have happened. Just stay calm. Think. There must be some kind of clue.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the seance?
Absolutely.
The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed.
Okay,
Utterly strange.
let's ignore Kyo's
Now that I think
tantrum.
about it, while we were all singing the song,
Singing.
I heard something.
Wait, really? Did I
I'm
miss
more
it?
concerned about.
Something fall.
Oh my god.
I heard something.
Oh, now I really
I'm more
lit it.
concerned
Oh, for
about how.
fuck's sake.
I heard something.
For the love of God. Oh, for good. There we go.
I agree.
Thank you. I hit it the first time. It was that weird white noise suddenly reaching out.
Himiko, you think that something fell because of that sound you heard, right?
Yeah, I assumed that was the floorboards. Or the floorboard. It sounds like a lot. And then everything else went through.
It sounded like something heavy fell down and hit the floor really hard. What could have fallen down?
Fallen down? There wasn't anything on the ceiling that could have fallen down, right?
The dog?
Am I wrong? I thought something fell, but...
No, we're on the right track here.
The sound was pretty loud. It did seem like something hit the floorboards.
A loud sound. Like something hit the floorboards. Maybe that sound had something to do with the other thing that happened in the dark. What's the other thing that happened in the dark? I'm kind of nervous about Tsumugi now. Like I said, she's been silent. Maybe the statue on top of the cage made that sound? Obviously not. It would be pretty loud if it dropped, but it was still on the cage after the seance. I was thinking maybe someone put it back up. It's not like you to forget something like that, Shuichi.
Damn it!
Everyone's staring at me. I screwed up, they think I'm a fraud. What caused the sound that was heard during the seance? It's gotta be the floorboard. Nope. And that was nothing to do with the sound during the seance. Nobody's gonna believe you anymore if you keep saying random things, you know. You don't get to say that. Okay, maybe we'll just go straight for the floorboard itself.
This is it!
There we go. Okay, sorry. Yes, that was the other thing that
I
happened.
think
The floorboard came loose.
coming off had something to do with that sound.
Ugh, just trust your instincts. Instead of trying to make some random shit up.
That floorboard came loose at some point during the seance, right?
Hang on. Was Tenko already dead when the floorboard came loose? Because look at the blood pattern, right? If she'd died now, well, obviously, like, she must have been dead already when the floorboard came loose, or at least wounded. Otherwise she would have known, right? That someone was coming for her. How did the floorboard get loose like that? And get propped up on top rather than falling, like caving in underneath, right? And there's the blood splatter. So yeah, if she was killed right here, right now, the blood would have just fallen down into the hole. There wouldn't be a streak leading out.
Would the floorboard have made such a loud sound, though?
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought maybe that was the sound of them sawing through the crosspiece.
It was the sound of an intense impact.
If the impact was that intense, then it could have loosened the floorboard.
Right. That is true. There would have had to be a strong impact to make that sound. But what was it? What could it possibly be?
All right then, let's go with that. We all gotta put our heads together now.
Okay. Another debate. What caused the shaking? Sound during sounds, magic, circle, crosspiece, sickle.
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Crosspiece.
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
You're talking about people
That wouldn't
participating in
make
the
such a
seance a
loud
lot.
crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
I'm starting to get very suspicious of her.
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hide under floor. Then stood up with such might.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
A floorboard that comes loose when you step on it is dangerous. God, it's like I'm the only one here who's staying on the ball.
I was about to say, you're the only
You
one
have any
counter
experience
goals.
with balls to say that, Mew?
Don't be stupid. Don't you know me and Balls are the best of friends?
Oh, I'm sure. Maybe Gonta's got a point here. Maybe the force came from beneath rather than from above. Well, it has to be from beneath. What would have made a strong enough impact to knock the floorboard loose? If I think about everyone's testimony and combine it with the facts,
So what made the floorboard come loose?
it wouldn't have been anyone in the seance.
Judging from the sound, there
It's
must
too
have been
dark.
considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Alright, let's go with Gonta's here.
hide under floor, then stood up with such might.
No, that's not gonna work. If the culprit hit their head on that tough floorboard, they would be dead. Okay, fair enough. I didn't say they hit their head. They could have used their back.
I was wrong!
I made a mistake. I need to think it over again. I'm running out of health. This is not good. I have such a sliver of health on that one heart. I actually technically have 3 guesses.
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Okay, let's slow down.
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
Tore off the... No, it wouldn't have made the sound.
But that statue was still on top of...
I was thinking that, but didn't I just, like, argue that? Could have been the dog. Don't think that's it. Because we already got shot down with that. Just can't remember how everything looked. So that's how it looked. Pre-seance. Ugh. Bloody piece of duct tape. We still have to talk about Angie's thing. Goodness me. So this is all irrelevant, obviously. Let's focus on our actual bullets. What are our bullets?
The cage!
Culprit hide up.
Dried blood under the floor. No, I don't think that's relevant to
Under
this,
floor.
to what caused the
Then stood up with such might.
trembling.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must
had
have
to be
stomped
there.
through the floorboard.
A floorboard that comes loose when you step on it is dangerous. God, it's like I'm the only one here who's staying on the ball.
You hardly have
Maybe-
any experience with...
Maybe it's Kokichi here. The crosspiece under the floor. Because he stepped through one by accident.
The floorboard.
But that would mean Tenko was moving while she was underneath the cage.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore the floorboard.
Let's try this.
Culprit hide under floor.
Then
Stood up with such might.
Someone must have stomped...
There we go.
I agree.
I agree with you, Kokichi, believe it or not.
Kokichi is right. The floorboard came loose because someone stomped on it.
Stomped, though? Is that the right word?
the floorboards fit perfect. Going to make sure first time we go to empty room.
Right.
When
I was
we
gonna
first
say,
saw
what?
the room,
When?
yes.
But that was when we
But when I
first-
looked again during the investigation,
Someone had cut the crosspiece beneath.
one of the cross pieces supporting the floorboards was cut off.
Yeah.
After examining the cut, I concluded that it must have been done deliberately.
No way the termites are that clean.
Someone? You mean the culprit, right? Why'd they do that?
What did the culprit stand to gain by cutting the crosspiece?
That's the question. The million-dollar question. What did they stand to gain? That's the question. Yep, see, Shuichi and I, we're just on the same wavelength there. To solve this case, I'll need to think carefully about the crosspiece and floorboard. Tenko's body was at one end of the loose floorboard, and the crosspiece that had been cut was on the other end of the floorboard. Okay, so there we go. Now I can visualize it. I thought she was actually on top of the one. Now I can see. If it fell down like that, that gives the killer, who's already underneath, the opportunity to strike. The only thing, like I said, is... No, actually, you know what? Because there's a crosspiece in the middle. That wouldn't have dislodged this entire thing. Right? So what the hell's going on? The unsupported part was outside the cage, so it could have been stomped on. Right. So you're saying someone participating in the seance stomped on that? Only one of the cross pieces was cut. The other two were intact. One of them was right under Tenko. And the other was in the center, right about where the edge of the cage was. What was the culprit attempting to achieve by stomping on the floorboard? Think. Come on, think. What the hell? Why did they stomp on the floorboard for? Okay. Oops. It's left click, right? Seance. Seance interruption. I don't know what the last word would be. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's not seance. Seesaw. Because there's a W, right? Why do they want to make a seesaw? Seesaw what? There's an F. E, A, C. Seesaw effect. Shouldn't have rushed that. I didn't even know if that was an F. Go. Okay. We're really treading on thin ice here with my health. Seesaw effect.
That's right. The floorboard might have been used as a seesaw.
Yeah? A seesaw?
By stomping
the
on
cross
it.
piece at one end of the floorboard had been cut off. The other two cross pieces holding up that board were close to the cage.
She would have been lifted up, with that middle cross piece acting as the balancer.
Meaning, if you were to apply force to the end of the floorboard with no cross piece, the next cross piece would act as a fulcrum to turn the floorboard into a lever. A lever capable of lifting up Tenko's entire body.
But why?
Her whole body lifted up?
She didn't say anything? Maybe she thought she was starting to get possessed.
Yeah, that sounds like a seesaw, all right. But why bother lifting Tenko's body?
What's going on?
They couldn't have killed Tenko like that, unless they used the sickle.
That's exactly it. Using the seesaw trick, it was possible to kill Tenko with a sickle.
I need to know. I need that diagram once more.
How?
In order for the culprit to kill Tenko with a seesaw trick, the placement of the sickle is the most important factor.
The floorboard seesaw, the cage, and the blood on the white fabric. What conclusions can I draw from this? There's only one place the sickle could have been that is consistent with the evidence. Where was the sickle when Tenko was killed?
That's it!
On top of the cage. That's where all the blood was.
The sickle was at the top of the iron cage, with the blade facing down. The reason we didn't see it was because of the fabric covering the cage. Also, the wooden statue kept the blade in place.
Oh my god. It was under. Korikyo. You put that motherfucking blanket on that stupid ass cage.
It's true that the sickle's handle was thick, which made the statue wobble.
And you're the asshole that took it down as well.
But the statue's weight kept it from falling over. Once everything was in place, if you stepped hard enough on the seesaw, Tenko's body would have shot upward and hit the blade on the top of the
You
cage.
motherfucker.
She was bent over, meaning the sickle's blade would have connected with her neck.
The 6-inch sickle blade wasn't long enough to stab Tenko in her crouched position. But with the floorboard acting as a seesaw, it could compensate for the blade's length.
Bringing the victim to the sickle, rather than bringing the sickle to the victim. That's definitely an unorthodox idea.
Yeah, now's not the time to be praising their ingenuity. You're the
It's
only
crazy,
person I can think
but it would
of.
explain how Tenko got stabbed while she was in the cage.
So the sound we heard was the culprit stomping on the floorboard.
Which means it's one of us four, and I'm for sure certain it's not me, because the game wouldn't pull this trick twice.
That impact make floorboard come loose.
Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned seesaw homicide. Wait, what the hell's a seesaw homicide? That's fucking crazy!
About as crazy as that lunatic who decided to make this stupid-ass seance.
The craziness is what really makes the killing game fun, you know?
Holy shit, I'm so mad right now.
They can't get away with murder the normal way, so they gotta think outside the box.
Yeah.
Kudos, culprit! You did a great job keeping me entertained.
I mean, I don't think it's Kokichi, and it definitely wasn't Himiko. Only the person who put that white cloth on that cage could have arranged this.
Indeed. Well played, Himiko.
Yeah?
It was you, wasn't it?
Oh, you son of
The
a...
one behind the seesaw homicide.
Are you actually? Actually?
Why her?
Because she's the only one capable of carrying out this plan.
I'd argue against that.
The only one? Why's that?
Because this seesaw homicide required its location to be prepared beforehand.
Yes, it did. In fact, multiple locations were prepared, you dumbass. She just happened to pick one of them that was prepared.
By cutting the crosspiece beneath the floorboard, you mean?
Then the culprit would need to lure their victim into the prepared
Oh, I can't
room.
wait to shut you down now.
That is why you chose that room for the seance. Is it not, Himiko?
However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use? You're the one who suggested. You prepared all 3, you jackass. Oh my god, Whew, calm down. The middle room. The middle room's always best for stuff like this.
Oh yeah! Himiko was the one who chose the site for the seance!
Can't believe you planned all this.
She likely found out about my plans for the seance somehow.
Don't listen to him, Himiko. I got your back.
You were quite vocal about the seance, Kyo. You even had instructions for it in your lab.
Our culprit, Himiko, prepared her seesaw trap ahead of time. Then she waited for me to host the seance, and suggested the middle room.
How is that so? Then why the hell did she volunteer to be the spirit medium in the first place? What, so she could seesaw herself into another disappearing trick?
She led us all into holding the seance right where she wanted it.
Oh, are you saying she manipulated Tenko to say that she was to go be the spirit medium in the end?
Then, she killed Tenko, all according to plan.
God. Never liked you that much, Kyo. And we may have spent some time together in the love suite, but trust me, there was no pleasure in that. It was just bad luck.
That's a lie, right? Himiko did such a thing?
It's the biggest lie I've ever heard, and I am in the same class as Kokichi.
In the end, Himiko, who Tenko cherished and loved, tragically killed her.
But why the fuck did you do this, Kyo? Were you responsible for Angie as well?
Wait! We don't know that,
I'm
right?
swearing a lot. I'm just so mad.
He's wrong, right, Himiko? Himiko would never kill Tenko, right?
She would never.
Kill Tenko? I killed Tenko?
No, he's gaslighting the shit out of you.
Himiko?
What's wrong, Himiko?
Oh god. Or have I got this entirely wrong? No, it's gotta be Kyo, right? It is true that using the middle room was Himiko's idea. But does that mean that Himiko really killed Tenko? No. I've got proof. the other floorboards were sabotaged as well. Would something like that really happen? Something so cruel. No, not now! Not now, game, not now, please!